Welcome back to Sell the Damn Service. I'm Emily, and this is episode 2 of a new mini series that we're doing called What Your Business is Really Telling You. 10 symptoms your service business might be showing you and the real diagnosis behind each one. So you should definitely catch up if you missed episode 1 in this mini series because they're short and sweet. Last week, we talked about sales calls that aren't converting and why pitching before diagnosing kills the close. And today, we're going to go one step further because a lot of you aren't losing the sale on the call. You're losing it after. Your prospect was warm. The conversation felt good. You sent the proposal and then nothing. So let's talk about what that's actually telling you. So here's the symptom. You had a great call. They seemed excited. The vibes were right. You followed up with a polished proposal and then nothing. Silence. You sent a just check it in and nothing. They're not saying no. They're just gone. Or maybe they do come back, but with an objection they couldn't say to your face. Or they drag it out so long that by the time they respond, the momentum is completely dead. And maybe you've even repositioned your offer, your pricing, your services, right? So here's what all of those scenarios have in common. Something didn't get resolved on the call. So here's the diagnosis. The hard truth is this. Your proposal is doing the selling that your conversation was supposed to do. And when that happens, you've handed control of the decision to invest with you to a PDF. A proposal should be a summary of a decision that's already been made, not a persuasion tool. When someone needs to think it over after seeing it, it almost always means one of 3 things. The price wasn't anchored during the call. Did you bring it up? Did you ask about budget? The outcome wasn't made visceral enough. What are they actually getting? Or an objection was never surfaced before you hung up because maybe you didn't ask. And when they say, I need to think about it at the end of a call, that's the same signal showing up one step earlier. So it's almost never actually about needing more time. It's usually a polite stand-in for, I'm not sure if this is a good fit. I'm not sure I can afford it. Or I didn't feel like I could say no on the call. And none of those are a time problem. They're a conversation problem. And the good news is you can fix that in the sales call. So here's the shift. What needs to happen before any proposal leaves your hands is first, the price range at least needs to be on the table during the call. Preferably, this needs to happen on your website. We're doing this on your services page. There's at least an expect to spend that's been communicated. Maybe you've shared it on your website. You shared it in an intake form when they scheduled with you, but definitely it was brought up on the call. I promise you it gets easier and easier to talk about budget on the call. The more you remove your own self-worth and identity from the price of your container, the easier this conversation is going to be. So if you need to flex that muscle, go do it. But I promise you having an open, honest, transparent conversation about price on the call serves both of you really well. We're not going to hide it in the document like a surprise, right? Second, they need to have said out loud what it's costing them to stay in the current situation. Get visceral. Ask them specifically, what are you going to do to solve this problem if we do not work together? And then dig deeper. Okay, great. How long do you think that's going to take to get you a result? How much are you willing to invest in that? Okay, you're saying you're going to try X. How much has that cost you in time, lack of results, money? And have them walk it through with you. This, again, isn't a persuasion. It is you getting all of the information on the table, not just for you, but for them to acknowledge as well, right? Third, before you wrap up, ask, is there anything that would make this a no for you? And they might share, well, I'm anxious about getting started in 2 weeks because I have this project I'm still wrapping up. Okay, great. We can push it 3 weeks, 4 weeks. How does that sound? Well, I'm nervous about paying the deposit because I'm waiting for this invoice. Okay, great. What if we break up that deposit into 2 payments? I'm anxious about a specific result. Okay, amazing. So you've tried X to try to get that same result and it hasn't produced the result you want. Here's why my method's different. You're redirecting. You are shuffling the puzzle pieces around, right? To paint the picture of you being the person who can solve the problem. Surface any objection while you're still in the room together, because once they're alone with the PDF, you can't address it. And they are going to make assumptions on how they can address it. And if they do say they need to think about it before the call ends, that's fine. But get curious instead of saying, no problem. Ask them specifically. Of course, that totally makes sense. What part of it do you want to think through? Is there any clarifying portion of it I can offer before we hop off? Okay, amazing. How much time do you anticipate needing before I follow up with you? We're just getting some clarity on here's exactly what I actually need in order to make the next step, right? And you can say, what part of this do you want to think through? I want to make sure that you have everything you need. Do you need to screen share a different portion? Do you need to explain something in a different way? And that one question almost always surfaces the real thing. And the real thing is almost always something you can address right then on the call. So where this ties into productization, and here's where productization makes all of this easier. When your service is productized, your proposal is simple. It's not a custom 12-page document you rebuild from scratch. It's a clean summary of a clear offer. And that simplicity actually reduces ghosting because there's less to second guess. The people who are not a good fit automatically say, I'm not ready because XYZ. And when I have that in place, I'll reach back out. That is like a very ideal type of conversation. Those are the conversations I have these days because my positioning and messaging is so on point that the people who aren't ready know exactly why they aren't ready, know what they need to put in place to get ready. They also know about how long that's going to take them. And then they come back to me because I'm still here doing the same thing, right? A murky proposal of custom scope, custom deliverables gives people a reason to overthink. And this isn't to say that you can't offer bespoke solutions, but it is still talked about in the container, in the call, the container of the call, what the actual clear outcome is and gives them a reason to say yes, because we're tying it to their problem that they've communicated. Clarity closes, vagueness stalls, period. So if prospects are going ghost after your proposals, stop blaming the proposal. Look at the conversation that came before it, and did you equip this prospect with enough information? Did you ask enough of the right questions to fully encapsulate their problem with your solution? And if they're stalling on the call itself, stay in it. Ask the question. Surface the real thing and address it while you're still in the room together. The decision already happened, or it didn't, before that document ever left your inbox. And like one other kind of sub strategy you can try here is instead of just sending a proposal in like a PDF for them to read through, walk them through the proposal in a Loom video. But if you're gonna add that strategy in, because it takes more time, your proposal needs to come together within 10 minutes or less. And your Loom video walkthrough should be 5 minutes or less. So it should still only take you 15 to 20 minutes to prep that email, prep the proposal, record the Loom video, and send it to your prospect. But adding that Loom video can continue that excitement from the conversation and tie in, especially if they brought up objections, bring them up again and illustrate how amazing you communicated on the call that you were worried about X. And I wanted to show you here is exactly how we're going to solve that problem by doing Y. And you can illustrate and call out those specific things in that Loom video. That's been really immensely helpful for my own conversions as well. So join me next week for episode 3 of this mini series when the people finding you can't afford you and what that's actually telling you about your positioning. This one might sting a little, but in the best way. So I'll see you then. Thank you so much for listening to Sell the Damn Service. If you loved what you heard today, do me a quick favor. Hit subscribe, leave a rating, and drop a review. It seriously helps more service providers find the show, and it keeps me yapping into this mic every week. It's a nice, free, easy lift way for you to support the show. And hey, if you've got a friend who needs to hear this, please send this episode their way. The more people selling their damn services with confidence, the better this whole industry gets. See you next time.